Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm back, and let's see, intelligible. Okay, so late 14th century, able to understand, intellect from Latin intelligibilis. Okay, that can understand, that can be understood. Okay, to understand, come to know. Okay, to grasp by intellect rather than the senses. In English, sense of capable of being understood, that can be understood, first recorded in the 1600s. Um, okay, okay. District, distinct, not identical, not the same, also clearly perceptible by sense. In the 1300s, to distinct one thing from another, make distinct. Again, there's your light. That so to make the Aboriginal, which is the darker races that was here already, distinctive from the natives that they wanted to kill you. God even did this in the Bible. So don't come at me, okay? He told the people that he have a place for them, but he have to clear the people out first. Why would you do that? If you want the land, why does God even care about land? Why does he need the land? Why couldn't he create other spots for these people to go? Why take some people out? And you might say because they were disorderly or they did this, but think about it. Flip the script. What if these were just indigenous people that just did not want to give up their land because they had long-term traditions and this thing was happening to them in a messed up way, and this is why we are where we are today, because people can't flip the script in their minds because they think that just God should be able to kill anything anytime that he wants to create. It's just kind of just when you just unravel your mind about religion, it just really becomes kind of ridiculous in a sense. Okay, and I'm not claiming to know everything, but there's so much information that's going against this, and there's so much information and so much that doesn't feel right about it in the first place. Again, same thing that this is why I say it's the God verment, because they created this God externally from outside of you with the things that they learned from your ancestors. They took what you needed to be looking at when it comes to self. And the Bible even speaks on this to look within and all these other things. Okay. Because I don't understand scriptures that, we would have to go all the way back into it, but said, lean not onto your own understanding. That sounds ridiculous to me because I have to lean on my understanding for everything else that I do in my life. So, and most of us do. Okay. So, why should it be any different when it comes to religion? Okay. So that's just like, don't worry about that. Think about yourself. And then we wonder why we're in the condition that we're in right now, as people of color, especially. Everyone, but people of color, especially, because you are the ones that have had the things stolen from you from the get go. You're the one that has been here. Your lineage has been here throughout this whole thing that they've done. And we are the remnant. Okay. Okay. So again, late 14th century, are we in the fourth day? Not identical, not the same, also clearly perceptible by sense, okay? To distinguish one thing from another, make distinct, to separate between, keep separate, mark off. Again, this is why those natives went into reservations so they can preserve what they had there. And then they just gave them the some of the knowledge, okay, from them being amongst the originals, and they have given them protection in a sense so that they can be with each other and try to build. And they still haven't, I hear a lot of stuff about some of these tribes that haven't been able to actually prosper even on their own. All the grocery stores and stuff are still off of uh, their land or whatever, or out of the res, and they have to still deal with, others to get what they need. Okay, so distinguish meaning plain and intelligible to the mind is from 1600. And again, to separate yourself, this is what we're doing. I get so much when I'm reading this because this is what we're doing when we're looking at worshiping idols and beings that have not proven themselves to us in any particular way. And you can say what you want. Oh, well, I know that Jesus, but you don't. So enough. Okay. So again, everybody can think what they want, but I'm just not going to subscribe to it anymore. So And I feel there's a higher calling in a higher uh, uh, source, okay, that is uh, in charge when it's coming to this awakening, that does not want this to be acceptable anymore, whether it's coming from deep within or there's outside energy. But again, so to the people earlier, okay, not clear, okay, separate into joints, okay, of person, not able to speak it clearly, clarify, make illustrious, glory, make known again. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, that was a lot. um, so scattering them into generic groups or stocks are essentially the okay, unsettled question as to their ancient history and origin. So again, we just read that definition. Now we see what they were doing. Does it match what we're talking about right now? Or do you need the concordance or some other book that goes hand in hand with the Bible that somebody wrote actually to keep you still? They give truth, but it's still written in a sense to keep you trying. They're telling you, like, I just can't go ahead and comprehend when we're talking about earth, the land, or earth, the people. You know what I'm saying? If you would have just told me the truth from the get go. So they have separated it. So in this sentence, in this scripture, in this time, they're talking about this. No, I'm just going to use discernment. I know what I'm talking about, what I'm comprehending when I'm reading this. Okay. And it's not happy go lucky. Can you have flipped the script and think that maybe we were talking about people that just the government wanted to plow over so for the land, the resources, and everything else. Okay. And that's why I say the government. Okay. So let's sorry. Here's language. The complete history of our Aborigines. So what happened to the Aborigines? Why you didn't never hear about the Aborigines in school? They just only talk about the Native Americans. They rarely even write it down as Indians in your textbooks. So besides being why do we think Australia is the only place that has Aborigines? Okay. So besides being a laborious undertaking, uh, would would necessarily be one-sided and unsatisfactory. The Indian himself having no chronicler and an approximation to historic truth being attainable only by a careful comparison and through sifting of the statements of both parties. Just sound like craftiness to me. Somebody that wants to like they're talking around the fact. Okay. Okay. So again, we'll go ahead and wait. Let's see. Meanwhile, the rapid spread of the white race over the continent. Okay. Wait. Was okay prior. Okay. But the nearest approach to the detailed account of the Aborigines of this country prior to Mr. Schoolcraft was the Book of Indians. So we'll just go ahead and look at that book next. Okay. Published as long ago as 1841, the work of Samuel G. Drake, the father of the present writer. Meantime, oh, now, wait a minute. See, because I'm thinking in my head, why do all these names end up sounding the same? We have Samuel Adams, Samuel Drake. I'm just wondering, I know that some people was using the same names and everything like this, but some of this stuff, why does it seem like Samuel is doing the same thing that uh Francis, who did we just do that video on? Something Francis, Charles Francis Adams, I think it was. I think it was Charles Francis Adams compiling the works of the Adams family, his forefathers and his father and his uncles and stuff. Or mainly his father, John Adams, who you would think, because he was a second or whatever, that he would have took his name, but this says that John Adams gave his son the name of his father and his brother, because his brother and his father had the same name. So that was weird. But anyway, it's just the same thing. So the Book of Indians, okay, and we were talking about that whole thing, how he compiled the works, and I showed you guys that book. So why is so much in reference? Why does so many of these stories just correlate with each other on and on and on? And some of the same names. Did they change their names? I was watching a documentary a while back, and I was trying to figure out which one it was. That said that one of these presidents, one of the ones, I don't think it was George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. It was one of these guys that they put on a pedestal. Okay, that his name was not even his last name. It was actually some name that started with a SCH, like Schult. It was some other different type of name. Okay, so they were saying that these people were switching their names and stuff so that they. And this is something that we wouldn't know because they could have been doing this. Okay, so again, the father of the present writer. So again, this is the same kind of story or thing that we're going with when it comes to the Addams family. So it's just very strange.